So don't say anything more silly. You can't say anything more controversial than I do. Right, okay. So apologies from Ruth today. I think she's still
Oh,
dealing with an ill friend of or is it a son or something's not very well.
oh,
And we've then got what else have I got to tell you about? Oh yeah, Kate. So hang on a minute. Apologies from Kathy can't make it today because Kate upset her last week. So that's it. So talking about upsetting people, Anne, have you got anything to upset Richard today? Just insult him a little bit because I do. I tell you what, I tell you what,
he's
you
got the
know,
patience of a saint, like
Richard
all of
just
us.
Richard's a four-eyed freak, with his glasses. But I got better glasses than you, Rich. And when look at that, Rich. You can just take them off. Look at that. See?
He
Uh,
looks like Carl Jung.
Who? Richard?
Yeah, he
Ah,
does.
Richard. I'll take that. Richard, take that as a
That's a
compliment. It's a big.
compliment.
Yeah, Carl Jung was the better of the two. I got to be honest with you. Um, I got to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung. When I studied psychology, I was a youngest.
yes,
Okay,
on me.
I definitely was. He didn't because I was massively into dream analysis, and Carl Jung's dream analysis was not Sigmund Freud's, who was obsessed with sex. You know,
Mm,
Sigmund Freud would say that you would aspire to have sex with your mum, and that type of thing. Yeah,
mm,
no, I wouldn't anyway. But anyway,
yeah.
Richard, anything you want to tell us this week?
No, no, nothing from me.
Okay, and any news from you?
No, nothing except, I think we'll have to do some fundraising for the museum.
Juju, yeah.
Yeah, I think now the weather's, well, hopefully the weather's going to improve. We're going to have to do some. I'd like to help Kate anyway.
Yes.
Do
Oh,
some
yes.
fundraising.
Uh,
If it's, yeah.
well, well, it's good that you mention that because that's something that I'll be mentioning in a short while. So,
Especially, she's
go on.
right about raffles because they do bring in a regular income, and you know, we've all got stuff we can raffle. That's always a good idea. I know it sounds just menial, but we can do it.
Yes, we can. We can. We can. Right. Okay. Okay. Let's. Right. Anything from you, Peter?
No, no, nothing for me.
Okay. Right. And then we're going to move on to Kate.
Can you hear me?
Well, yeah, we can hear you. It's just that nobody wants to, but we can hear you. Yeah.
Anything fucking interesting, am I?
So the best thing to do, I think you've got a bit of feedback there. So if you do talk, Kate, you need to go slow. So talk to us.
Okay. No news really. We've got I've got Figures all excited here though because he can hear your voices and he wants to greet you, so he doesn't know how to do it. He's sort of Oh, bless him.
Oh,
Oh,
and Figgis has had his knackers done as well. So we're I'm in an hour in about having Marley done because he's a proper Tom, but he hasn't started spraying or anything. We're just wondering if we need to have him done or not. So
yes,
um
I would, because
Bloody animals, get yourself done.
they still behave like a Tom, we've
So
got
you should.
a ginger tomcat and he's been spayed, but he's the most dominant, you know, he's probably not aggressive, but he is quite aggressive.
yeah, well, hang on a minute. Is Peter saying I should be done because
Yeah,
Yes,
Peter, I am not.
you should have been
I
done 6 kids ago.
a ginger tomcat and he's been spayed, but
hang on a minute. We got some feedback here. Anne's talking again.
sorry.
He's probably not aggressive, but he is quite
Hang on a minute.
Oh, oh,
Hang on a minute. Peter, you're just jealous I got 6 children. That's what it is. Okay, so So I got a weird thing going on the bloody internet at the minute. So just
I
gotta get this
know.
off.
Mine,
Right. Okay.
mine.
We're ready. We're ready. Right. Okay. So the first thing is Anne mentioned about this fundraising thing. I need to do this in order. Right. So first things first. I because I've got the live shows next year, and I'm ditching loads of things. We've stopped the ghost walks. I've stopped selling my books. And we've got rid of a member of staff. I'm not doing my shanty singing evenings anymore. It's all to try and get a book out by the end of the year now, and also my live evenings. So that leads me on to the next thing. I thought it was a good idea to have live classes on the Thursday, but then I sat down and I just thought, well, it's better for me and Richard to be meeting on a Thursday at the studio to do some book stuff, which would be far more profitable of our time to do that. Now, if then on a Thursday, for example, me and Richard down at the studio, we then thought, oh, okay, Richard, why don't next week we call everybody and try and organise a walk or something? Well, me and Richard will already be there. I'm talking about Richard without him even agreeing to this. As me and Richard will already be there, we could just say, Richard, should we just go out with the boys and the girls now and do something? Because we're already there. But one thing I'm struggling with the concept now is if I'm fixed to a Thursday to do classes and stuff, and when we're already doing that on a Wednesday, it's a different concept. So what I'm trying to say is that we won't be having me and Richard. Richard, you can bump in any time, yeah. If me and Richard have a regular thing on a Thursday, and we think, oh well, we'll just do a walk next week, right? Then that's what we'll do. But we're not going to do it as a regular thing. And I think that's something that Kate was talking about. If you're going to do anything in the studio, don't do it every week.
Yeah.
And on that note, if it's like, for example, the other thing as well is what I am doing is struggling with the rent for the
Mm,
studio.
mm,
Um, it is going to be a struggle now. So altogether, um, uh, you know, I'm able to cover at this minute. It's 200 and I keep forgetting the figure. It's £224 a month, right? So it's half of that's coming out of my own pocket. And it's now getting a bit of a struggle. So, and the whole point of the studio was to have the books and have the cabinet with the artifacts in. Well, actually, me and Richard can actually deal with that now, because if me and Richard are going to be there on a Thursday, we could say to people, if you want to come along on a Thursday and just have a little look at a couple of things, and me and Richard can get on with what we're doing, right? Then that makes more sense as well. But to be able to do that, we need some fundraising to keep everything going. So everything's very much linked. So with book writing wise, uh, um, yeah, I've just gone up a gear with the book writing thing now, and we're seeing it needs to be done. Another book has come out, and um, it's been distracting, and I got to really watch my words now. The other book that's come out on Barry is not the same type of book that we're making or producing, and I think that's really fair. Um, the other book that's being produced, which has come out in print, um, is more of a personal history of somebody's interests to do with Barry. Our book is to do with our personal interest with Barry, plus is to do with things that people don't discuss about Barry, right? Things that have been missed, right? And it's also a book that we're going to add to. So it's going to be like we come out with the first run, and then Richard and I'll be slagged off rigid by what's in it, and then we'll correct that, or we'll add something, we'll take something out. It'll be constantly refreshed, right? Like the 3 books I've published on Romans in South Wales. We had version 1, 2, and 3, and there's bits of refreshment in each. But the Barry one will be, well, one thing I do know that you guys don't know, up until about, let me work, up until about 10 years ago, the W.H. Smith in Barry used to have books from the secret stash of Barry books, right? There was somebody who had stashes of Barry books, that were a member of the old Barry book committee from 1984. And W.H. Smith would say, right, can we have another 10 copies of the book to sell in Barry? And they would sell out and we'd have another 10, right? But there's no, that's not happening now because, W.H. Smith is gone. So anyway, if anyone wants to make comments about that, then they can. So what I am going to do is go on to just a few small images. And as I said, this was going to be a short one today, and I really appreciate you coming in on a Friday. Wednesday just turned into something else. So yes, I wasn't too well on Wednesday, and I couldn't even get to the doctors on Wednesday. Peter phoned me up yesterday, and I was still in bed, and he said, "Oh, you sound rough." And I thought, Peter, what are you telling me? What you don't already tell me every single week? It's nothing new. I thought, Peter saying that I sound rough is the same thing as me saying that I look rough. Anyway, so let's go on to these images. I know.
You were
I know.
there.
I know Peter cares about me. I know he does. Right. But I've got a confession to make. Right. And Peter's going to be really upset with this.
Oh, don't.
Somebody's done. Sorry, I'm going to say it. Peter, somebody's done me a favor. Right. And I have promised that I will buy them half a pint of lager. Right. Which is something that I've never offered Peter in my entire life. And look at all the things Peter's done for me. Sorry, Pete. I do appreciate you. Anyway, right. So we're going to go down to Porthkerry now. This is actually, this is one of my own pieces of work. It's a little sketch, and what you've got Porthkerry, and you've got the railway, and on the left, if you try and get the orientation on this map, the word Porthkerry on there. If you go towards the left and the end of the little sketch of the railway line, in parallel with that, would be the cottage, Nightingale Cottage, and a bit further on you've got everything else, right? So that's called West Ridge, and it's something that's fascinated me for a while, and it's an area that I've wandered and looked at, and where it's got Platform House, just on the left there is the village of Whitelands, and that Platform House is actually a platform manor. And I don't know if a few weeks ago on a Tuesday or Wednesday evening, you heard me talking about platform manor houses that had been found in England, and a big one had been discovered. Well, that's what that is. And anyway, so West Ridge. The story goes, Howard Thomas had assumed in the late 1980s that there had been a Roman settlement at West Ridge, a northerly ridge overlooking the Porthkerry Valley. And this is something that I wrote about in my first book, in the Romans in the Vale of Glamorgan, in 1996. This caused the author to carry out a non-probabilistic survey in the area. And what a non-probabilistic area survey is finding a sort of survey in a square within a field, right? Randomly, right? So the area, the 100 square meter area chosen is shown on the map, and the ranging poles were set out and collected and collectors were asked to collect any material that may be of Roman or medieval origin and to continue walking until all was collected. Now, it's to be honest with you, it's quite a big area, and that's about an acre, probably more actually, but gives you an idea of scale. Um, so the material or Roman or probable Roman origin is as follows. We found one piece of Roman tile, and that Roman tile was slightly curved, so it was an imbrex tile, so it was a ridge roof tile of sandy orange clay. That's the same, and that's the same sandy orange clay of a tile that I showed you last week that I was nibbling at, but that was from Lantrithid. So one piece of Roman orange buff fabric pottery, right? So that's slightly coarse, and 60 pieces of probable Roman brick tile, one piece of probably one piece of probably Roman brick of coarse, gritty, dark orange type with one straight line impression, similar to ones that I'd looked at from the Langston Roman villa site a few years before this survey was actually published in 2003. So material of medieval or post-medieval date is as follows. Now, there's something else about that, but we'll go on to that shortly. One sherd of medieval local courseware of orange clay, one sherd of post-medieval gravel tempered ware. Now, the local courseware is probably associated with the village, which is over just on the right-hand side, the Cumkiddy village, which goes over on the right-hand side of the Wood Survey area. So that's towards the northeast. And this thing that it says post-medieval gravel tempered ware, light grey core on brown iron matte glaze internally. That itself is a piece of pottery that come over from Devon, as in North Devon gravel tempered ware, and that had been traded in as a pot, probably into the harbour at Porthkerry. So that's another lead. So 5 sherds of post-medieval biscuit ware and 2 rim sherds with manganese iron glazes. So these were likely to be UNE potteries, and a piece of roof tile, a handmade iron ring, a handmade iron nail, and a sample of iron slag. Now, that is all sort of relevant stuff, but it doesn't indicate a Roman settlement or a Roman villa of any major standing in that area, which I don't, Howard Thomas had assumed, so he didn't say that there was. So it was my job to find out if he was right or wrong, but he wasn't right or wrong because he'd assumed. So we're not scoring any points here. The quantity of Roman pottery and tile from such a large area is very limited in comparison to the authors and other field walking surveys of other potential Roman sites elsewhere. It should therefore be concluded that the original supposition of a Roman settlement at Westridge has not been confirmed. The later material is also scant, and this was retained by Archaeology Cymru. Now, on where it's got, if you look there, right, if you go there in that corner, that is really interesting. And the reason why that's really interesting is there's another story associated with it. And the story goes as follows. Now, and if you go over to that corner there, so we've got, if I scribble on here, then you get a better idea of annotation. So hang on, annotate. Good. And I could draw that in there. There's one. And if we press A there, and we put B there. Right. So the reason why I've drawn this on is that in about 2008, I went field walking in this field with Stuart Jackson, and this hasn't been published yet. And I said about the field walking here, and and we decided to go there, me and Stuart. So the usual thing that Stuart would do, he would just like go off, and I would be looking. And we actually had radio. We had little handheld radios with us. And I said, well, if you find anything, let me know, and if I find anything, I'll let you know. Right. So anyway, um, I I was at A, and I said I radioed Stuart, and I said, oh, I've amazing enough, I've just found a really badly degraded piece of Roman Samian ware bowl with decoration on it. And this was a decoration of a lion. It was a bit of a bowl with a decoration of a lion on it. And I thought, oh, that's brilliant. And he went quiet and he said, come over here. Right. So I trudged across over to B, and he had a whole bag full of medieval pottery, glazed medieval pottery, and all the rest of it. Right. And he said, the only reason I come here today was to find Roman material. You happen to find the only Roman artifact. And I'm saying to him, but look at all you. So he actually had a carrier bag. We hadn't gone meant to find anything, so we just weren't. We had a trowel each, and we had some bags and stuff. But anyway, so that stuff hasn't been published yet. But when I do publish it, that'll be something that I can tell you about on a Wednesday morning, and it'll also be something that me and Richard can use in a reprint of the Barry book that we're working on. So we can keep adding stuff to it, keep topping it up, and that's what we're going to do. So and also when I was also years and years before that, I would wander in these fields and I'd find bits of pottery and all sorts of bits and pieces. And I just found a piece of black burnished ware in the field one year, but that's neither here nor there. Now, I want to show you something when my drawing skills were actually pretty good. And I'll show you this now. There. Now that is a Barry Victoria Park black burnished ware fragment, and you can see the alignments on that, on the shoulder, and the neck, on the right there. This is actually the fragment that I've mentioned a couple of times from Barry Victoria Park. So, on a family visit to a public park in Barry, the author noticed a piece of black burnished ware in a flower bed. And that day, I think one of my daughter was with me, and I got so distracted by this piece of pottery, I lost her for a couple of seconds. But anyway, yes. So she had a dad as an archaeologist, which is not a good thing. But anyway, so I found a piece of black burnished ware in a flower bed. And it is a rim of black burnished ware 2, which is black burnished ware 2 made on a wheel. Black burnished ware 2 jar. And what we've got is a list of these types of black burnished ware. We know the specific type is Gillam type 120, and it dates from a time range of between AD 120 and AD 160. Black burnished ware is very, very dateable. Within some of it is within 10 years. You can date it when it was made by the decoration, and on some of them, I'll indicate this. I hope this is right. So how to date black burnished ware is if you then look at some of the other examples where you've got decoration like this on it, that means it's early black burnished ware. If then the lines get tighter, that means that it's later black burnished ware, right? Now that's one way of dating the black burnished ware. Secondly, the other way of dating the black burnished ware is that early black burnished ware would have a rim that would just go to there,
Yeah.
and then obviously that would be earlier black burnished ware. And then later black burnished ware, the rim starts to go out further, go out further, and go out further. And that is going to be later black burnished ware. We get some black burnished ware that it goes out so much that it's also almost like this. It almost comes, hang on a minute, it almost goes out like that and it comes back down on itself. So the later black burnished wares, the rims are just they go nuts. So this fragment itself is something that I was pretty proud of when I actually found it that day.
Is it black?
Yeah, when right, you haven't actually asked a silly question at all. Is it black? It, it, it's it's not black. Oh no, actually, I'm going to correct myself. And also I've missed something out. The stuff that's the reason why it's called burnished is it's polished, right?
Right.
Some of the stuff that's really highly polished and
Yeah.
highly decorated, and when you got the grooves on it and the black catches it can be very jet black, very jet black.
Yeah.
But the earlier stuff is like an off black, like a matte black.
Yeah.
So when you get a matte black, it's like a really dark, deep grey. It's like a I can't call it a grey. I can't call it grey because
No, I know.
there's
It's like
there's
in the it's in the earth, it's in the clay, isn't it?
yeah. So but and we'll talk about something else as well. But if you start to talk about it being a dark grey rather than a light black or a matte black, that's another type of pottery altogether, which is a greyware, right? So this is specifically given the title black to differentiate it between the greyware. But it was a very valid question. When you get matte black, it's not exactly black, but gloss black is black. So yeah, good. That's a good question. And when again these are typical these are typical types of pottery that are associated with for example the Roman military. But we do actually find that these are actually very domestic because the date that this dates from in the 120s would be a time that there was basically no Roman military presence in the area at all at that stage. They'd all moved away because they weren't needed. The nearest Roman garrison to here would have been Cardiff, which is, as we know, Cardiff from Barry's 8 miles, so it's 8 miles away. So this is like it's now domesticated type of pottery that is domestically used.
Yeah.
So right next, so as I said, this was a short one today, but I wanted to say obviously near this find is not too far away because this was found in one of the northern flower beds of Victoria Park towards the Northern Gateway, which is not too far away, if Richard wants to correct me, from something called the Caddiston Wayside Cross, which I'm mentioning now, and Richard knows why. So what we're going to do now is I want to talk about something quite controversial, which was controversial at the time. Oh, hang on, get rid of that. Which was controversial at the time. Now this is what happened was that in 1996, the administration in 1996 decided that it would be illegal to remove hedges or remove hedges without some kind of permission. It was going to be put on the statute book across Britain, and that was going to come in 1997, right? Now, but it would take time for it to be enacted. So the farmer that owned this bit of land, right, decided to rip all the hedges out for 1 mile, which meant that you had one complete field. He did it so that he could get away with it before it was made illegal. and I surveyed this landscape. And and it was for basically, when I say 1 mile, it's closer to just over 1 kilometer. But well, actually, if you it's 1 mile if you sort of do the twist. But so this was the type of thing going on, and this was the type of thing affecting the landscape. Now, I used to see metal detectors at work in fields at a place known as White Well, which is where I lived. Led myself to carry out field walking over the same area from Landcarven Lane eastwards. Nothing was found, and in fact, nothing had been found by the metal detectors either. However, the work did show the extent to which field boundaries had been removed in the area since 1998, as recorded on the OS Explorer map of 1996, which is basically that that was on the Explorer map of 1998. When that was published in 1998, right? It was surveyed in 1997, right? So by the time it was published in 1998, that is what it looked like. Except on the maps, it still looked like that. So this is what it looked like after 1998. And the tragedy is with hedges is when you remove them for good. And my real thing about hedges is hedges tell a story of bits of the landscape that are no longer with us. I.e., in a hedge, you get creatures still living like badgers, or you might get the odd hedgehog wandering around, or you might get the odd fox, or you might get the odd hare, or you might get the odd mole. When you remove these things, you've lost what's left of the bioflora and biofauna of the landscape. And this if you study the whole of the Vale of Glamorgan in 1990 and compared it with a map of 2000, you'll notice that thousands of hedgerows were removed by the farmers. And and to be honest with you, somebody farming myself, it makes no sense removing hedges at all, in no way, shape, or form. It makes when you remove a hedge, you allow the ground to erode quicker. You allow the wind to sweep across an empty, barren landscape. There's no shelter for animals that want to graze. The 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 drainage is very different. And I'm not talking about this from the flora and fauna point of view. I'm talking about this from the farming point of view. There's no need to remove hedges, and it's a really stupid idea. And when hedges are gone, they're gone. So as I said, this was going to be pretty short today, and I would like to tell you that that after this I've got to make a phone call. And there is something else I've got to mention here now. Just one last thing. After this, I've got to make a phone call, and it's to there's some development work going on in Wick, to develop 17 houses in Wick in the Vale of Glamorgan, and it's near the Wick Bronze Age Carn field. So any Khans that might still be in the field that they want the development that they don't know about. Archaeologists like me need to get in there and try to work out if anything still exists. So I'm going to see if I can get the work to do the watching brief there. But that's so I'm going to make a phone call after this anyway. But two things I want to mention, talking about landscape. The first thing is near this field as well, just a bit further north, there's a farm called Tinnacoid Farm. And when I was working on that farm, I looked down in the muds this one day, and there was a sherd of medieval local courseware with an orange grey matrix, and some post-medieval sherds were found by the author. So that's me. And then finally, one last thing I'll mention: northeast of Cowbridge is a place known as Castell Tallefan, which is near Ystrad Owen. And with permission from Norman Jenkins, otherwise known as Storm and Norman, a field walking exercise was undertaken on freshly ploughed land northeast of Castell Taliban Farm by 8 members of Archaeology Cymru. Norma Jenkins hoped that medieval pottery and midden deposits related to possible settlement around Taliban Castle might be found. The results of a collection exercise over 100 square meters did not confirm that hope. Only one piece of local courseware pottery of 1100s date was picked up. All the rest was post-medieval material, brick, coal, pennant sandstone, statue of Lloyd George, slate, sherds of 1800s iron and manganese glaze wares from probably UNE, Victorian china, and clay pipe bowls and stems from the 1700s. And this material suggests midden spreading rather than occupation from later periods. So those are the types of things that you can learn from the likes of field walking. So, and again, I've got to remind myself to make that phone call, and I got to call Narberth to find out if we can use that for the live shows. And when I talk about the live shows every week, tickets are already on sale. But I'm in and are in whether I might need one venue which is closer to you guys. But we've got tickets on sale for us. The gun lice. Chepstow.
Gun lice is a bit.
What's that?
And Chepstow,
Wow.
really. But,
Yeah, so we're thinking, or I'm thinking of somewhere closer, but the musician will not go anywhere where there's lots of people. Don't ask.
right.
You think I'm strange? I love Jamie lots. You've met Jamie, Anne, but he doesn't like Jamie the DJ. Right, we love Jamie, but he doesn't like towns and cities. So
he's a. Oh well, not anyway. Yeah. I mean.
Anyway, not a problem. So what I'm going to ask is, as I said, I wasn't going to do a long one today, but we'll be back as usual next Wednesday. So any questions from you, Anne?
No, that's it's sort of a follow on from our pottery the other night, really. Just the shapes are different, more rounded. I wondered if they were made on a wheel or would they be made
Yeah. You should have asked the question. That's a wheel-made pot. Yeah, that's a wheel-made pot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Good.
But by the medieval period, by the Roman period, most pottery that we find in Britain's made on a pot, a wheel. And the reason why it's being mass-produced, you can't really mass-produce handmade pottery.
No.
It just there's a lot more faff with handmade pots, and if you can imagine making a handmade pot by hand, and you're doing this and you're having to work it, and you've got it on a wheel, and you can do them in minutes. So yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thanks.
And they're better made on the wheel as well. I'm glad you asked that question. Right, okay, Kate.
Yes. At Wick, a Bronze Age what field?
A Bronze Age cairn field, a Bronze Age tumulus field, a Bronze Age burial field.
You mean
Yeah.
cairn?
Yeah, cairns, tumuluses, tumuli. Yeah, it's all the same fudge. Anything else, Kate?
That's all, thanks.
Okay, your mic's really bad, and Kate, you know what's going on Monday, so yeah, we'll leave it there.
No problem.
Oh, and that's something I got to mention. Thank you for that. We'll do Richard, and we'll do Peter, and we'll do that. I will mention that because it's actually there's two things I've got to mention. So a thank you about something, and yeah, good. Anyway, I'll mention that. Kate, Peter, anything from you,
No.
Pete?
No, nothing from me.
Okay, then. And what about you, Richard?
No, not on that actually. I was just going to say one little piece, mine, because you're on about the Wayside Cross.
Yeah.
And suddenly I found a piece to do with it again, what you've seen before, and the piece was written by a guy called Frank Bright, and it was in, hang on, 1891.
Oh.
And I think it's that same piece that we had about it.
Yeah.
It's got a bit added on at the bottom.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, good. Well, when I proof check this, Richard, make sure you stick that in.
Yeah, that, you know, if I can see like a proof of it sometime.
Well,
Before we,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. Hang on. I'll note that. I'll note that down as well. You've got something more about the wayside cross. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I'll note that in. I'll highlight that. Right. Okay. Right. Okay then. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you for that. If nothing else, you haven't got
There's
anything else.
nothing,
Right.
nothing
Okay.
actually on today,
Right. Okay.
relevant to today.
I would like to say that thank you for those that did sign it, the petition about the Croggan Oak. Um, I panicked at the beginning of the month. I thought, oh my God, I've only got 190 signatures and I need 250. And I really promoted it, and we managed to get another 70 odd signatures within the space of 10 days, and I managed to get over 260 signatures for the petition, which it will now be discussed in a committee at the Welsh Assembly. So there you go. I got to be honest with you. 260 signatures doesn't sound a lot, but it is, considering people don't people don't do petitions anymore. We're inundated with stuff, and I was looking at the amount of petitions that they've got people wanting, and there was you know, I'm gonna say it, there was much more worthier petitions than mine. Yeah, I shouldn't say that, but and they weren't getting any signatures at all. And I just thought, oh, we were so lucky that people wanted to sign the petition.
Yeah.
I was really pleased with that, and I really appreciate everyone that did sign it. And you can and actually you can still sign it until the 16th of April. If you still want to sign it, obviously more the merrier. And if you haven't, then just let me know before we end.
And you can't sign it twice.
No, you can. Yeah, well. If you could sign it 250 times, I would have signed it 250 times, but I could only sign it once.
Yeah.
And you can only sign it once from one email address. So if you're 10 people in a house and you've got one email address, it's tough. And this is the thing. This is the problem with signing online petitions. If you've got a house of 5 people, and some people only have. And if you don't have an email address, then you can't sign it either. So, right, okay. The other thing as well is I had a phone call off a lady I'll be meeting up with very shortly, and there's a pub in Barry called the Castle Land Pub, which we used to have meetings at years ago, and I can remember reporting. I remember reporting in my column in the Barron District last year. It was about the Catalan pub. Castle Pub it is. It's not Castellan Pub. It probably was called the Castellan Pub. The Castle Pub in Jewel Street in Barry, near the Bassett. And I remember writing last year that it was going to be converted into flats. It hasn't been converted into flats yet, and they're hoping to do a community buyout. And they invited me if it does go ahead, do we want a room there for a museum?
Oh.
Oh. If that was the case, then I would probably turn around and well, I'd probably have to sit down and think, right, we'll have to we've got 2 rooms at the Cannon Hill Arts Place. We'd probably get rid of one, and we'd have a little bit of money then to sort of help with the other bit. So anyway, so that's it. So anyone got anything else to say before we call it a day? And on the keep your clock there. It's fine. We like that clock. Right, Richard. Anything you want to say before we finish?
Yeah.
No,
Anne?
for me, I think.
Okay, thank you, Anne.
Is Kate free for a chat sometime on if I phone her?
Yeah, I'm about to go out. I'm about to take figures out.
You need to go out, do you?
I need to take them out for a run now.
Yeah.
While,
Okay, well, I'll catch you sometime, all right?
Why
Oh,
did you
yes.
give yourself? Why did you give each other a ring in about an hour? And if you did give each other a ring in about an hour, then Kate can tell me what you discussed when I see her, and that
Oh,
would
all
be
right.
useful. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. In about an
and,
hour.
and,
Then.
and you can't really speak to Kate now because I can't hardly hear her, so it wouldn't go well.
No, no. I actually, I gotta find my phone.
All right, that helps. Anything else from you, Kate?
No, that's all, honey. Speak to you all soon. Love you.
Okay,
Go
and
back.
same here. And finally, Peter, anything you want to say before we finish?
No, fine, thank you. Bye.
All right then. Okay.
What's
Um,
happening? What's
go
happening
on.
on Monday?
Um, um, I will. Me and Kate are meeting up.
All right. Okay.
So
All right. Yeah. Just carry on.
all right then.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
You, you do. You do.
You have a chat with Kate on the phone, and we'll go from there. Richard, you'll probably hear from me later on when I've had time to get my head around these sheep, and I'm getting on to that now anyway. So straight after.
Okie doke.
Okay.
Okay then, Richard.
All right.
I guess say goodbye,
Bye.
Richard. See you, Kate. See you, Anne, and see you, Richard. I'll speak to
Bye.
you soon. Take care. Bye. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
So
Bye bye.
long. So
So
long.
long. So long. Bye. Thank you. And thank you everybody for watching. I'm slightly under the weather still, so I think I'm going to have a coffee and the last of that donut and sit down and read a bit of the uh, stage newspaper. It's been a really long 8 months. It really have. Oh my God, this weather's been shit. Right, okay, that's it. So thank you very much. I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Diolch yn fawr chi, gwelwch chi eto, and see you soon. Thanks for watching. Every Wednesday morning, actually, not Friday morning, every Wednesday morning. Thank you. And those who are watching online, if you want to join, please do. If you want to send a donation over, then if you want to send a donation over by PayPal, everything is very welcome. Things are going to get very tight over these next few months because I got to focus on this live show and make sure that it bloody works and we've got a big packed out audience. And if that's for PayPal donations. But if you're interested in the live shows, then please please let me know. That would be really, really great. And I might do a TikTok about my live shows as well. So, do you know, I'm going to write down break. I'm going to have a break, right? And I got the break. I got that. And, and I'm going to make a phone call about the job. And do you know what I'm going to do? I might actually do that now, get out of the way. Diolch yn fawr chi, gwelwch chi eto. Bye bye. I guess if there's anything in the chat box.